What's up, everyone? Slasher Movies here. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I'm so excited, you guys, to bring you this video because personally this is a video I love to talk about because it's just bringing attention to movies that honestly never got them. So honestly, today I'm going to be counting down once again my top 10 favorite horror movies of 2019 you might have missed. Now look, there is so much content out there. I understand. It is overwhelming sometimes, from TV to movies, just everywhere. You're trying to consume it all, that sometimes things just get brushed under the rug or don't get the critical reception or attention that they deserve. And there's just so many reasons. I know it's unfair, but it's just how life works. Now, of course, like every year, I have a few honorable mentions. Even though that these films aren't on my top 10 list, definitely put them on your watch list at your convenience. These movies are delightful and deserve to be watched. Those films are Villains, Head Count, The Wind, Haunt, and The Golden Glove. Starting my list off at number 10, I have The Hole in the Ground. Now, The Hole in the Ground is actually an A24 horror film, but it kind of got that, direct TV release, so therefore, it had like its 5 minutes of fame and then it was brushed under the rug because The Prodigy and all these other horror movies were coming out around that time frame. But honestly, I think that this is an excellent horror movie, one of those kids are creepy type of movies, and it's easy to draw similarities to films like Pet Sematary and The Babadook, as this movie does explore similar themes, but I think it does it with class. I love the visual style of this movie. The performances are fantastic, and I think that why I really like this movie is I feel like the final act of this movie really comes together and gives a sting of an ending. Now, number 9 is The Headhunter. Now, this is a Shudder exclusive movie, and I really recommend this movie to a lot of inspiring filmmakers. This is definitely going to be one of those movies that you're going to be like, why haven't I made that thing that I want to make? Because this exists. Yes, he made this, and he made it for only $30,000. That is impressive. It's inspiring, and when you see the quality of the movie, your jaw will be on the ground. Now I will admit this won't be for everyone, as most of the visual violence does happen off screen, but in my opinion, it didn't deteriorate from the experience. I thought this movie had an incredible atmosphere. It was dreary. The main performance from the guy is fantastic. I won't say what's going on, because I kind of went into it blind, and I felt very rewarded by the ending of this movie. I mean, this is a ugly looking movie, but a beautiful looking movie, and this is definitely not a world that you want to be living in, and it's just fantastic. It's a fantastic atmospheric film that just has so much atmosphere in it that I think that a lot of aspiring filmmakers should definitely check out. Coming in at number 8 is Harpoon. Y'all, Harpoon is a blast. This movie is so much fun. You take 3 people, 3 hotheads, people with a ton of anger issues and a lot of secrets. You put them on a boat and let that chaos reign. What's also so great about this movie, besides the fantastic pacing and great characters, or great horrible characters, is the narration of this movie. They do something unique with it, and it's very fun. And I am not a fan of narration in movies most of the time, but Harpoon is one of the exceptions. They do something bold, they do something different with it, and I won't say what it is, but it's fantastic, and it adds a lot to the feature. Number 7 is The Perfection. Y'all, I don't know why this movie did not blow up. I felt like this movie had like a 15 minutes of fame because I got to attend the world premiere of this movie, and it was fantastic. I love this movie. Yes, it's trashy. It's all over the place. The narration, the pacing is wild, but it feels manipulative, it feels on purpose, and I love this movie. I got a lot of hate comments for liking this movie and that I was wrong, but honestly, I think that this movie is kind of near perfect. It's fantastic. The twists and the turns and the direction that this movie takes you on is brilliant. It's so good. And I think Allison Williams from Get Out gives a fantastic performance. And if you had asked me from the opening of this movie to where this movie ended, I would think you would be lying if you told me that. But somehow I feel like it works for this movie, and the final shot is honestly one of my favorite final shots to a movie in 2019. Number 6 is Hag Azusa, A Heathen's Curse. Y'all, this movie, similar to a Headhunter, is oozing an atmosphere. Definitely made a micro-budgeted made movie, but it also feels like one of those movies, like if you saw The Witch, like Robert Eggers' The Witch, and you're like, man, I wish that was more art house, then you need to watch Hag Azusa, because this movie, while very little on dialogue, is oozing in dreary, just unholy atmosphere. Like, this is definitely, once again, not a world that you want to be living in. The main performance from the actress is brilliant. She is so captivating to watch and get absorbed into. And just the progression of this movie and the plot of what's going on, I just love the way that it's portrayed. It's just, this movie really gets under your skin. And I wish I had the opportunity to see this on the theaters, because the sound design is exquisite. Number 5 is Knife and Heart. I love this movie with all my heart, you guys. This feels like what if Nicholas Winding Refn had directed a queer Galileo film and set it to the beat of M83. So absolutely my kind of film. I love that this movie exists, and I think this movie is going to just be a movie that's actually going to get more attention as years go along, because this movie has a lot to say, I feel, about queer horror, and I just think it's brilliant. I think this movie is utterly brilliant, and the visual style of it, I love that the movie doesn't take itself serious. The romance at the forefront is, epic and cinematic. It's just fantastic. This movie is oozing with a personality, and it's not afraid to get dirty and nasty and play with the audience. This movie is a wild trip. Coming in at number 4, I have Little Monsters. Y'all, this movie was made for me. I didn't know how much I needed Lupita Nyong'o singing Taylor Swift on a ukulele until I got it in this movie. She is brilliant. And my hot tea for you guys is I kind of think her performance in this is better than her performance in Us. And I loved Us. I loved Us. But she is so brilliant, and how she's able to bring this whole script and this whole crazy story of, trying to keep these kids maintained during a zombie apocalypse is fantastic. I would honestly describe this movie, and this is a weird hybrid of Shaun of the Dead meets Life is Beautiful. Yes, that Holocaust movie, it's like the hybrid of them two. It's a funny, heartfelt horror comedy that has great characters, really good laughs. I think Josh Gad is fantastic in this movie, and just, I'm not gonna lie, I cried while watching this movie. The final shot of this movie just warmed my heart so much. It's such a delightful film. It's got a pure message. It's just such a great, funny film, and definitely worth checking out if you're a big fan of horror comedies. Coming in at number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is One Cut of the Dead. Y'all, this movie is why film festivals are awesome, because word of mouth got out of the film festival, and I was like, you know what, I'm putting it in my slot, and I had the most fantastic time watching this on the big screen. Y'all, I'm also going to tell you what they told us in the beginning of this movie. Don't give up on this movie. The first 30 minutes might be a bit rough for some people because of the whole guerrilla style filmmaking, and if you're going into this blind, you're like, what am I watching here? Stay with the program. After that, the brilliance just pops, and it just becomes one of the most inspiring, heartfelt, hilarious movies I've seen in quite some time. I mean, this movie just was such an incredible theatrical experience to watch, and it's brilliant. It's one of the best, zombie comedies are out there, because there's actually quite a few, and it's just made with so much heart. There's a lot of love for filmmaking in this movie, and just the progression of where the story goes is going to have you rolling and crying and laughing. I mean, I had physical abdominal pain from this movie. It's brilliant, and you can check it out on Shudder, so get to it. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is Tigers Are Not Afraid. If there's one movie that is probably one of the most important films to check out, it is this movie. This is brilliant storytelling. The progression of these kids and the journey that these kids go on and how they have to come to the terms that they're having to become adults at a very young age is so heartbreaking and sad and, yes, scary. The visuals of this movie are terrifying but emotional and sometimes magical, almost fantasy-like. It is such a good movie, and I'm telling you now, this director, she is going places. She is going to be a name in the horror genre, because this is a bolt of lightning of a feature debut. I mean, I sobbed in the theater when I saw this movie, and honestly, this is one of those movies where, yes, it's scary at times, but you almost don't want to rewatch it just because you know that you're going to have an emotional journey while watching this movie. And I definitely think it's a film that everyone needs to check out. It's just the heart and soul of this director is poured into this movie, and I just think it's a story that you need to experience. Now, of course, we've come to the end of the line, and my number one horror film that I think you might have missed in 2019 is Climax. Y'all, if you know the director Gaspar Noé, you know this movie like it's ingrained in your head. But just in case you don't, I had to put it on here. It is one of my favorite movies of 2019. This movie is a hallucinogenic nightmare, and I honestly think it's his best movie. It broke me down. It was terrifying. It was incredible. Absolutely brilliant, incredible. The filmmaking, how he chose to film this movie in a sense of like a one-take type of movie, but there are cuts, and just it's just brilliant. It's brilliant, you guys. Oh my god, it is just absorbing, and it's the way that the LSD kind of tricks everyone out on a different sort of trip is just unreal. This is a movie, it's currently on Amazon Prime, and you definitely need to check this one out because it is going to give you a nightmarish experience. There were walkouts out of my theater when I saw it just because of how terrifying it was, and the progression of everything is just, oh my god. Oh my god. So you guys, there you have it. Those were my top 10 horror films you might have missed in 2019. Look, there are so many movies. There are movies that I know I left off this list that you probably checked out and thought were fantastic. Let me know in the comment section below. Let's praise some independent horror films, you guys. And until next time, you guys, I'm the Slash Movier, and you guys have just been slashed.